Welcome to the January 11th, 2021 Advanced Report for McGowan Group clients and NetWorthRadio.com listeners. I'm Spencer McGowan, your financial weatherman, bringing you each and every week the headlines, investment strategy, what it means, and how portfolios are constructed at McGowan Group Asset Management. As president of McGowan Group Asset Management, we've assembled a team of 9 great professionals, expertise in key areas, including financial planning, wealth management, estate planning, and logistics, which become very important as you attempt to look at a long-term financial plan. The markets may pull you in the wrong direction, and YouTube McGowan Group, thank you for subscribing. This is where we bring you the intelligence reports that can advance those decision making, including our favorite areas for 2021. And we've got some forecasts for 2021 built in, advanced research at NetWorthRadio.com. If you decide that you'd like to fill out the preliminary client questionnaire, that's also at NetWorthRadio.com. Here we go. Dow Jones Industrial Average. I'm going to cover this week, I start with the 5-year. I just wanted to see what the drama was on a 5-year basis. Well, you can see right here, 2016, 15,000. This week, 31,000, despite chaos in Washington, which was on everybody's mind, of course. Policy changes with what happened this week are very important. Corporate taxes likely to go up from 21% to 28%. That's a detriment for after-tax earnings value of the S&P and the Dow of about 10%. At the same time, we've got a recovery with vaccine delivery. I talked to several clients this week that have been vaccinated, and of course, people get on the list according to age. As that runs through the system, well, by summertime, the pandemic is likely to be a very small factor, and the economy likely in full recovery. Well, there are some changes that we'll see in the second half for the financial markets that are critically important. We're going to cover those asset classes too. This is the correction of 2018. It was a 20% correction here. This is the pandemic with the Dow going from near 30,000 to 18,000, now 31. Too far, too fast based on earnings, and we'll get to that. What's happened in oil? This first week of the year, a spike to 51.50, actually a little bit more than that. That's equivalent to the price of about 5 years ago, with a low of minus 40. Oil's actually up over $90 a barrel when the futures turned negative till now. The restoration of energy demand, both oil, gas, and we've got some clean technology updates, clean energy technology here at the end of the program. This is GDP. What happened in 2020? Minus 3.5% is forecast. We'll get the final number, which could be a positive surprise for the fourth quarter. That comes at the end of January. About 4% actually projected for next year. 4% recovery versus 3.5% right here. That's a near restoration of 2019 levels, maybe a little bit more by the end of the year. But capacity has been constrained in key industries. Commodities are already forecasting inflation. What are we going to do about it? These are the earnings of the S&P 500. Lower labor costs and lower real estate costs likely to bring about record earnings sometime towards the end of 2021. If you look, it'll be about the same level in the second half as it was back in 2018. But the equity indexes have doubled. You're paying twice as much for earnings, and for the tech sector, which has reached the biggest percentage of the S&P, you've got a danger warning like 1999. All right, this is the healthcare sector, probably one of the most undervalued sectors relative to its growth rate. And you can see the first week in January here, boom, the healthcare sector takes off. About a 3% gain for the week versus a Dow at about 1%. Other sector, S&P Energy. We're looking at 90 days on these charts, and look at this first week. The energy sector taking off, coming back in favor, a likely energy shortage by the end of the year because production capacity was reduced and it doesn't come back on stream fast enough to cover a restored economy, air travel being the last part to that. Now, this is clean energy technology. It's had such a rally that it is pricey, but I wanted to show you this first week. This is 90 days. Certainly the election has an impact on that as well. And so you can see at the election point, a rally resumed, but these companies, like the solar, became profitable and was reasonably valued. Now, not as much, but this sector has some interesting plays, and we're going to get to one of those. Well, Bloom, not a recommendation for your portfolio till you come down and get a plan, because this is one of the hydrogen fuel cell companies, and you can see how it took off over the last 90 days. The hydrogen fuel cells being one of the solutions. Renewables are 12% of U.S. energy supply, and maybe they'll accelerate to 20% with a $4 trillion infrastructure package. The effects of all that borrowing and spending initially feel good for the economy. 2022, a likely hangover that we want to be prepared for. All right, what do we have here? This is the Bitcoin rally. That is incredible. What's happening in the institutions is a bet against the dollar. The dollar forecasted to continue to drop through the year because they've printed essentially double the size of the currency, the Fed balance sheet, in the pandemic. And the impact being an anti-dollar trade here combined with transactional utility. It's just a notable chart in that it accelerated so much this week. And it has everybody talking about Bitcoin. We told you not to when it was 20,000, went to 3,600 in March, a tenfold gain since the pandemic in this cryptocurrency. All right, this is civilian employment. Right now, what we've got here, about 150 million total employed. Once we put in the last quarter numbers, it had been 159 million, and that stalled. The shutdowns actually did contract employment in the last month. So you do have somewhat of a stalled employment recovery as well. We'll bring you the best in financial news. We'll continue to cover our favorite sectors as we did here on medical, energy infrastructure, and the global high yield updates next week. Thank you for coming to YouTube McGowan Group. Thank you for tuning in to our YouTube channel. I'm Spencer McGowan, President McGowan Group, your financial weatherman. We sponsor each week networthradio.com broadcast. That has the charts and graphs, many of which you saw today. We also sponsor this YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe for fast breaking news, an alert when we post something in a market condition that may have changed. Our goal is to help you as an investor make the right decisions at the right time. And that's part of what this YouTube channel is about, as well as networthradio.com. I am well served with a team of 10 people, including myself. And that team that cares is actually made up of people who are devoted to your net profits and your success, as well as excellence in service. If you want an educational experience to follow this up, get to networthradio.com, themcgowangroup.com. Right here, we disclose our net client experience all the way back to 2001. What that includes, the bear market cycles of 02, 08, 2018, and the recoveries through the most recent quarter. That is true education of investors and exactly how our clients have done, disclosed right here. Further disclosures, value at risk of loss. Yes, Investments are going to fluctuate. That's part of the reason for this broadcast. And that can actually work to your advantage. We'll build that into your plan. So I urge you to go to networthradio.com, fill out the preliminary client questionnaire, a free 1-hour brainstorming session by phone or at the Crescent in Dallas, and we will map out a multi-year plan for you and your family that's appropriate. Just because we talk about a security on this broadcast or any securities doesn't make it a recommendation for your portfolio until you have that written plan. Thank you for tuning in today, and we'll be back next week as your financial weatherman.